Hi, you're watching Summarized City. Today I'm going to recap the movie Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Listen carefully to my story before you miss anything. In 1571, the Yucatán public became sick to the plague. One man tracked down a plant and alongside others, drank it. The substance turned individuals blue and made them unequipped for taking in air. They immediately moved to the sea and made a civilization in the profound water, Talokan. One of the ones who ingested the plant had a child named Talokan. The child grew up to become leader of Talokan. At the point when Fen kicked the bucket, she requested to be covered on the land. Talokan drove a few gatekeepers up to the land where he saw a progress. They went after the human progress to account for his mom's entombment. One of the townspeople referred to him as Namor, signifying the kid without affection. Shuri works in her lab, making a solid attempt to make a counterfeit heart-molded spice to use for her sibling and Wakanda's the best, T'Challa, who is passing on from a sickness. Ramonda gradually strolls into the lab, reporting the Lord's passing. After a year, Wakanda is experiencing difficulty with different countries needing their vibranium. The Dora Milaje find French military men attempting to take from their station. Afterward, Ramonda converses with the unified countries and uncovers the French's endeavor to take. She reminds the nations that despite the fact that the Dark Jaguar is gone, they will in any case battle. At a mining station, Americans mine in the sea utilizing a vibranium finder that was made by a MIT understudy, Riri Williams. They utilize this to find vibranium in the sea. Unexpectedly they go under assault by Talokans who don't need them taking their vibranium. The final helicopter of survivors is struck somewhere around Namor. In Wakanda, Ramonda and Shuri go to the water and grieve the year since T'Challa's passing. They consume their burial service pieces of clothing to connote the finish of the grieving time frame, in spite of Shuri not being totally prepared for this. Namor then, at that point, shows up, getting past the boundary by going under the water. He uncovers to them the presence of Talokan and believes that their assistance should prevent outsiders from taking vibranium. He likewise makes sense of that Wakanda isn't the main spot that has vibranium, Talokan has it as well. Ramonda reprimands him, stressed of his presence. He lets them know he will kill the researcher who created the machine and that they can help him, however they can't hold him up. Shuri and Okoye go to meet Everett Ross, who gives them the name and area of the youthful researcher, in spite of perhaps offering private data. Okoye and Shuri then go to Cambridge, Massachusetts to track down Williams. They follow her to her carport where she uncovers that she is chipping away at an Iron Man-type reinforcement. In any case, they are trailed by the FBI. The three move away, Okoye in a vehicle, Shuri in a bike, and Williams in her shield. Abruptly, they are met by Talokans, Atuma, and Namora. A short engagement closes in Shuri and Williams getting caught. Ross shows up at the scene the following day and meets with his ex, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. He additionally tracks down Kimoyo Dots and conceals them. In Wakanda, an irritated sovereign Ramonda denounces Okoye for losing Shuri, which is exacerbated by past episodes, for example, when she apparently agreed with Killmonger when he usurped the high position, and flames her from her situation as Broad. Shuri and Williams awaken in Talokan. Namor shows Shuri the civilization, attempting to persuade her regarding his standards, in any event, giving her his mom's wristband. In any case, she differs in killing Williams. In the interim, Ramonda goes to Haiti to see Nakia, who had left Wakanda 6 years earlier. She requests that Nakia track down Shuri for her. Nakia does a few spying and sorts out the area. She then, at that point, breaks Williams and Shuri out as Ramonda converses with Namor about his arrangement. They return to Wakanda, however just for additional torture as Namor and his kin attack. They flood the city causing a full-scale war. Namor deals with all of the Wakandan vehicles prior to flooding the royal chamber holding Ramonda and Williams. Williams begins suffocating, so Ramonda swims to save her. She can get Williams to somewhere safe and secure, yet just to suffocate simultaneously. Shuri grieves her mom's passing as Namor tells her she is sovereign at this point. He and his kin then, at that point, leave the country. In the interim, Allegra de Fontaine figures out that Ross has been speaking with Wakanda this entire time and has him captured. M'Baku converses with Shuri after the burial service and gives her ethical judgment that she shouldn't kill Namor. He then, at that point, tells her he will give lodging to the dislodged Wakandans following the assault. Shuri then utilizes Namor's mom's wristband to make the fake heart-molded spice which at last works. She goes to the astral plane in the wake of taking it and is welcomed by Eric Killmonger, who claims they are something very similar. They contend a peace before Shuri claims she will kill Namor out of vengeance. Shuri awakens and makes herself a suit. She then drops into a gathering among M'Baku and the older folks as the Black Panther. In arrangement of the fight, Shuri and Williams understand that they could debilitate Namor by warming his body up to where it can't get oxygen. They then, at that point, make a second Ironheart shield. Shuri gives Okoye a new shield, acting similar as Iron Man's 2, called the 12 PM Holy Messengers. Okoye initiates Annika to be separated of her two-lady group. In the sea, they utilize a vessel to bait the Talokanals into a snare. The fight begins as Namor appears to acquire the upper hand. Nonetheless, Dark Jaguar traps him in a Regal Claw contender as they remove off from the fight. In the meantime, the Dora Milaje battle the Talokanals on the vessel while the Jabari clan, Nakia, and the others fight the ones on top. Ironheart and the 12 PM Heavenly Messengers deal with the airborne Talokanals. Black Panther warms up the Regal Claw warrior, debilitating Namor, however he starts to break out with his lance. Black Panther shoots an impact from her vibranium gloves which detonates the entire boat, sending the two foes into the island underneath. The two battle some more until Namor pierces Shuri. Notwithstanding, rather than polishing her off, he is more stressed over getting to the water before he passes on. A harmed Black Panther breaks free and gets before the limping Namor. She then shouts Wakanda until the end of time as she protections up, sending an impact from the detonating claw contender into Namor. He is set on fire as he falls. She remains over him to polish him off, yet recalls her sibling, T'Challa. With these recollections of the man he was, she chooses to save Namor's life the length of he gets back to Talokan. Namor has appreciation for the Black Panther and joins her as they return to the battle scene and advise everybody to quit battling. Yet again Black Panther then, at that point, hollers Wakanda for eternity as the rest rehash it back. In the repercussions, Williams gets back to MIT without her protective layer as the Wakandans need no debate with letting her keep it. Shuri leaves for Haiti as opposed to trying for the privileged position, which eventually is tested by M'Baku. Afterward, Namor paints in his room as Atuma welcomes him. Namor guarantees her that their new coalition with Wakanda will be advantageous. En route to jail, Okoye breaks Ross out of care. In Haiti, Shuri meets with Nakia prior to leaving for the ocean side where she consumes her burial service stately robe, permitting her to lament at last. In a mid-credits scene, Shuri discovers that Nakia and T'Challa have a child, Toussaint, who Nakia has been bringing up covertly distant from the tension of the lofty position. Toussaint uncovers his Wakandan name as T'Challa.